Peace be with you. My name is Allan Keislar, and although I'm in America, I'm always thinking about Pakistan, the land of the pure, the land of love, truth, and justice, the land where people serve each other, the land of charity. Pakistan has more charitable gifts than anywhere else in the world. So we should understand Pakistan is a special place. So today I am going to talk a little bit more about COVID-19. Don't worry, I don't have it. But I want to suggest something that may be surprising to some people. Gradually, we're learning about what's really happening. And it appears that it now is becoming known, at least I'm finding out about it. I didn't know before where really the COVID-19 virus came from and who made it. But it now is appearing to me more and more clear. It definitely was made in Wuhan, not the pandemic only, but the virus was actually manufactured there also. It was made by putting together different viruses which had come from bats and other other animals, and it was intentionally made to be more deadly and especially to have a longer incubation period so people would not even know they were sick. After they had caught it, they would not have symptoms so that it would spread more. This was the plan. Now, who made it and why, that I'm still trying to understand. But it appears now to me, I may be wrong, but it appears to me now that it was actually made by the Chinese Communist Party. They were the ones behind the manufacturing of it. Not only them, but they were in league with people like Bill Gates, who had been planning this also. He is expert in this field of population reduction, and so they really wanted to create a situation in which they could reduce the population of the world substantially. This plan has been in effect by these satanic people for a long, long time, many decades, if not centuries. But in any case, they wanted, and they publicly announced this, it's nothing secret, they want there to be only 500 million people on the planet, because that way it will be easier for them to control it. So, as I've said before, they wanted to start world wars for a long time to cause substantial population reduction, but they failed in those plans, both in the 1980s, the early first half of the 1980s, and at the end of the 1990s, in 1999 specifically, in July, there was a world war expected to reduce the population of the earth by at least half or two-thirds or more. So these satanic people really wanted this to happen. They wanted the population of the earth to be substantially reduced. And of course they failed. Or we can say that God prevented it, or seeing the wonderful people all around the world who were praying and fasting and calling on the name of God for protection, God responded and he prevented those attempts to start the world war, a world nuclear war, from happening. And then there were other attempts also, besides those two, specific ones. And so this plan was that a virus would be created which would be so deadly and so quickly spreading because of this time period when people would not know they had it, even after they had it for some days at least, even weeks maybe. They hoped by this they could spread it all over the world and many, many people would die. And that virus was manufactured, not the Americans, some Americans were involved definitely, and I've just posted a link to an article about a Harvard professor who was arrested, and two of his colleagues were also arrested who were Chinese, and they were working on manufacturing this virus. So they did it. They created the virus, and it either got out or was released intentionally, I don't know which, and many, many people died in China. I think that the actual number has not been reported. The virus was very deadly, and maybe even millions of people died in China before it was understood what this was. But, as I said yesterday in my Urdu chat, then something happened. The virus mutated, and it became less deadly. It really happened. It really changed. This was also undoubtedly the action of God, or the action of good people who were praying and meditating, so the virus became less deadly. And this plan, therefore, of the Illuminati or the deep state, whatever you want to call them. Of course, they're not illumined, but that's the name they use for themselves. They failed. So they did try to start it. In fact, they had many, many plans to start it, even intentionally in different places. But the virus had mutated and it became less deadly. So I explained this yesterday a little bit in my Urdu chat. So I wanted to say it in English for those of my friends on Facebook that don't know Urdu, so they could understand this also, and I could add this new information that I just got. So we should all be very, very happy. We always say God is our protector, and we see here another evidence of it, that God has prevented this huge plan to kill off a large percentage, we can say, of the population of the world. So, but they had the plan in place, and the other part of the plan was to shut down the world economy. As I've said quite a few times over the past week, they planned to shut down the world economy so that all the countries in the world would be impoverished and they could then take over more easily. And they wanted everyone to be frightened, terrified, really, so they would allow themselves to be manipulated by the authorities, telling them, oh, you have to do this, you have to shut down the economy, this and that. Actually, this COVID-19 is really just a flu now. It's just like a flu. It's not more deadly than an ordinary flu. Every year, many, many people in the United States itself, tens of thousands of people die every year from influenza, from flu. So it's not that much different now than in other years. So there's no need, really, to totally shut down the countries. That was the plan, that they would shut down all the countries and all their economies would be destroyed. But now we can be thankful that that is not happening. On the other hand, what is happening is this also news is coming out that in the very near future, I don't know if it's a matter of days, weeks, or months, but it appears it will definitely happen in this year. Everything will happen that we've been waiting for. The truth will come out. The truth about extraterrestrials will come out, that there are extraterrestrials. Most of them are very good and helping us, and some are very evil, just like evil satanic human beings also, but most of them are good. That will come out. And the big satanic leaders of the world will be arrested and brought to justice for all of their criminal activities. All the big corrupt politicians and the big banksters, the international bankers who are really just gangsters. So many illegal criminal activities in making fake loans to all the governments of the world to entrap them in the debt trap. So that will come out. Okay. Let's see what questions there are. Sohail Anjum Salam, are you in Pakistan or USA? I'm in USA, in Esparto, California. Abdul Rahman says, who will be bringing the truth out? I don't see that happening, quite frankly. No offense, though. It's not going to come from the mass media. They're going to prevent it from coming out as much as they can. They've been preventing it from coming out as much as they can. The truth will come out from people who understand the truth. Because we can understand the truth in our hearts. If we pray, meditate, and are very, very sincere, God can speak to us in our hearts and tell us the truth. So we can understand the truth. So please try. Because there's so much misinformation and disinformation in the media. Hamza Rahman Malik, you say China made it and Bill-like people are with her too. Yes. This virus was created, I believe it was created in the, level 4 security biolab in Wuhan. And Bill Gates had been involved, at least last year he was responsible for a big conference, and I think it was the month of October or so, in which they even discussed and made plans about this virus. And so these satanic people had this plan. Yes, it was made in China, quite certainly, in Wuhan. Salman Shah, I am inspired by the story you told in your Urdu session about Baba Farid. May Allah Kareem bless you with his utmost benevolence. Yes, Allah is very, very kind, and He blesses us with things we don't deserve. But He, by the mercy of God, I was able to meet Baba Farid Gan Shakar in 1984. Personally, physically, I met him, not in a vision even. Taimur Hassan, China made it? I have some doubts too. It means China is accommodating Israel. Well, the Chinese Communist Party is definitely part of what we call the deep state or the cabal. They're involved in it, yes. So that means they are in league with the Israeli system, is also part of the cabal. Not the people, not the Chinese people, not the Israeli people, not the American people, but the governments of most countries in the world are under the control of the deep state or the cabal or the so-called Illuminati. The ignorant, not illumined. Illuminati. So there are many questions and comments. I'm not going to be able to read all of them because I don't want to make this such a long chat today, actually. Sunni Ulumur, Salam Babaji, who is your murshid? Please tell something about him and share some story. Well, my main murshid now, I've had many murshids throughout my life, but my main murshid right now is my good wife. And the story of how I accepted her as my murshid is a very interesting one. I'll try to tell it very quickly. This was in 2010, just a little over 10 years ago now. I had planned to attend a conference in New Mexico organized by Native American chiefs, Native American leaders. And I won't go into all the details about why, but then at the last minute I decided to cancel it. And as I sat down at my computer to cancel this booking, I heard a voice. And it said, read 2 books. So this was a habit I've gotten into for many years. I may read the Quran or especially some holy book or any book and just open it randomly and find some guidance there. So I understood immediately what this voice meant. So there was a book lying there. I won't go into the details. There were two books lying there, and those two books clearly stated that I must go to this meeting. So I did not cancel it. I went to the meeting, and there at the meeting, after I drove for 20 some hours to get there, because it was a long drive from Northern California to New Mexico. And when I arrived, I was very exhausted. I took a shower. I registered for the conference. I went to my motel room and took a shower and was about to go to sleep when I heard a voice. don't, don't take rest now. Go down to the conference meeting room. So I did that. I found out where it was. I went down there, and there were two ladies playing on drums and chanting, singing. So I was quite astonished. To make a long story short, I joined them. They invited me to come sing and drum with them, and it was a very, very ecstatic experience. Very, very. I've had a lot of ecstatic experiences in my life, but this was one of the most ecstatic. And then, this is a full long story. I can't tell it all, but very briefly, then the next morning, I got messages from several different places, several different people, including 2 or 3 Native American spiritual leaders, and that the lady who was leading that chanting, who was called Grandmother Kalili, that is her Native American name, Kalili, she was the one who I was actually sent there to meet. I didn't know it at the time. And then I got these clear messages that I should accept her as my murshid, as my teacher, to have further spiritual training. So I accepted that, and that's what happened. So that's something about how, not him, but her, about how I met. It was very mysterious spiritual experience, how I met her and how I was instructed to now accept her as my spiritual guide. Okay, to read the Persian letters, I have to put on my glasses because they're smaller. So, Sadia Sana is asking, what's the source of this information? Well, there are several different sources, but one of the main sources is QAnon. So if you're not familiar with QAnon, it would be good, very good to find out. It's almost impossible to find out the true information about QAnon because there's so much propaganda in the mass media against QAnon. But QAnon is evidently some anonymous people in the U.S. military, that's what it appears to be, who have done a lot of, what should we say, activities and research, and they know a lot, and they understand a lot, and they're very powerful, and they're very good. They're not, well, I wouldn't say very good, but they're good people. They're God-fearing people. And they have their faults, and they have their weaknesses, and I have some disagreements with them, but they are the ones who have shared this information, that the source of the coronavirus, the COVID-19 virus, actually is the Communist Party of China, and it's in league with the so-called Illuminati, or the Deep State, or the One World Order, or has so many names, the Cabal it has been called. So that's the source. One of the main sources. There are other sources also, but that's the main source. Shah Khan, how long do you think it will last for? Well, I believe, and I think this is coming from QAnon, because evidently President Trump is working with this QAnon quite clearly. President Trump has indicated that it will end in April, or at least it will peak in April next month, that the danger will have passed, and people will realize we don't have to be so afraid of it. So it looks like it will only last another month or a few weeks even. But maybe as much as a few months. I don't think QAnon has given an exact time, but or President Trump has given an exact time, but he has indicated that he plans to reopen America on Easter Day, which is only a few weeks from now. Basit Bashir, how long will it take? Yes, so I believe it will be ending next month, but definitely this year it will not become the big, horrible pandemic that they've predicted. Shah Khan, wake up call, get on the path of Deen. Yes, this is a very good instruction. Wake up. This is a good, we can get some good benefit from this COVID-19 if we wake up and become serious and take to the Siratul Mustaqim, the straight path of true religion. What is that path? It is the path of truth, love, the path of justice, the path of service. Ahmed Salman Khan, if idea was to reduce population, then why China went for a lockdown to control damage? Well, the other evidence, and this is also coming from QAnon, is that actually many, many more people in China died than we have been told. The main source of this, I actually found out about it from a newspaper article, and I can post that link on my page also, that in China everyone is required to have a cell phone by the government. But there were 21 million less 21 million fewer cell phone users now than a year ago in China. So what's the explanation for that? You try to figure it out. It's possible, this I don't know for sure, but it appears that maybe this virus was the cause of all those accounts being lost. That means the people must have died. So it's possible that the population was reduced much more. And but in any case, they did then want to stop it. The plan was that this virus will start in China, and then it will be brought under control by very strict authoritarian means, locking down the country even, but certainly any areas where the virus had spread. And then the whole world will also be infected, and those governments will also be put under pressure to use the same methods that China did, because China will be successful. That was the plan. China would be successful in reducing and stopping the virus spread. So all the countries of the world would then be kind of forced to lock down their economies too, lock their countries down in order to control the virus like China did. That was the plan. And it's working because people are afraid. World leaders are afraid that if they don't lock down, then they will be accused of spreading the virus all over their country. And just like has happened in Pakistan, Imran Khan has been blamed. In America also, President Trump was blamed. Of course, he did shut it down. But anyway, to some extent. So this was why it started in China, really. And the plan was that this would reduce the population. But as I said, the virus mutated, so it stopped spreading so rapidly and it stopped killing so many people. Okay. I think I had told my wife that I would make this a short chat because my chats have been going on for over an hour, so I'm going to make this a short one. So I'm just going to read a couple more questions. Adil Mazhar, how do you think we can reduce depression and panic situation in society due to COVID? Just understand what I've been saying, that this was an artificially, genetically engineered virus meant to kill off huge portions of the population and meant to shut down the whole world, to lock down countries so the economies would fail and the satanic elite could take over very easily. That was their plan, and it has failed. So we should be happy. And even if we don't know that, we should be happy because we know that Allah is Malik, and God is the Lord. He is in control of everything, and He is our best friend. So there's never any need to panic about anything. We should always be happy because God is great and God is wonderful. Azmat Rauf Murad, what is the role of Murshid? I don't want to talk now more about these other topics. I'm just going to see if there's one or two more questions about COVID virus. Sunil Umer says, Babaji, could you please tell me the zikr which helps in getting close to Allah? Oh, well, I thought it was which zikr will avoid the COVID virus. But everything is helped by Allah, 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 Alhamdulillah. Simply the names of God, any language. Adonai, 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 Adonai. It's the chief name of God in the Hebrew language in the Bible. And toi, ni 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 toi, ni. That is the extraterrestrial language of my extraterrestrial spiritual mother. All these names of God, any name of God, you can recite, and that's the best zikr. Just repeat the names of God. Any name of God. Okay, so, and that will also help, that has helped stop the COVID-19 virus from becoming the real deadly pandemic that it was planned to be. Taimur Hassan, it means final battle is near. Are we going to see Imam Mahdi and false Messiah soon? The final battle is definitely near, yes. This is the end of this great struggle. It was supposed to have happened in 1999, actually, a world war. That was the destiny of the world. Many, including Nostradamus, he specifically said the 7th month of the year 1999 is when this Armageddon was supposed to happen, but it was prevented. So it's changed. I think that the whole destiny of the world has been changed. So this final battle may be very different than what we had thought. Instead of being a big military confrontation, it will be more of a information war that's going on right now, trying to win the hearts and minds of the people. That's what the war is all about. So certainly the truth will come out. And Imam Mahdi and false Messiah may be somewhat different than we thought. It may not be exactly what we understood. It may be a quite different type of battle. Okay, I'm just going to take maybe one or two more questions about this topic. Taimur Hassan, 21 million less mobile user than the last year. Yes. I will post that newspaper article which mentions this. There are now 21 million less mobile users in China than a year ago. So that's what the article says. So I will post that article on my Facebook page after I finish this chat. Okay, I'm going to end now. But thank you all very, very much. And please read these articles. I just posted one right before this chat, which was talking about the American scientist at Harvard University, a biologist, chemical biologist, and two of his Chinese colleagues who were caught. They had been working on this bioengineering, this virus actually. So that article you can read also. And then you can read the article I will post right now about the 21 million fewer cell phone users now in China than there were a year ago. Okay, thank you all very much. Be happy, don't worry, God is in control. Allah Malik. We should all be very, very happy that we are alive at this very, very significant time in world history that people have been waiting for thousands of years for. So we get to live during this wonderful, critical time. The time of the end of the age, not the end of the world, the end of the satanic rule of the world, because Satan has been